Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. Today is Wednesday. It is May the 10th. I don't have a fun, quirky thing for May the 10th like we did, like May the 5th be with you, or 4th be with you, and Revenge of the 5th, and all that stuff. We don't have anything fun for the 10th. It's just the 10th. If it was next month, it's my uncle's birthday. But here we are. It's not next month, so sorry, Uncle Davey. So today is on Wednesday, and I do have most of our amazing panel here, so I will not delay. I will bring them on today. Miss Patty Tibbs.
Hello.
Miss Rachel Heisler. How are you, lovely ladies? Cheers.
I haven't got around to making my coffee yet. I know. What's up with that? Okay. I have one major announcement. Simon, you're watching. Stop dancing. I don't care which direction you're dancing, and it's not working.
That is hysterical. So Simon has been faithful for the last several years that I've known him in posting his rain dances when we need rain.
Well, we don't need any rain over here.
Y'all never need it up there, but down here, the rest of us schleps.
Well, maybe he needs to move and do his dance in another county.
Well, we're good in Chambers County. We've got plenty of rain.
Yeah,
we're good.
I think most of the East Texas probably has had more than their fair share. So we're glad to send it west.
That would be fantastic.
Please, yes, go and do your dance for Burnett County.
Yeah,
my family up there, they desperately need rain.
How about we just do it? Rain. How about if we just do it along the border, real heavy?
That is exactly what I was fixing to say. If we could actually just start a rain dance right here on the border, like torrential downpours, fill that river high, get them gators all stirred up. I think that it wouldn't matter what happens tomorrow.
Well,
how about that?
That is so very true. Anyway, just a suggestion, Simon. Take the day off and drive west and do your dance that way.
I will contribute to his Uber.
She's specifically saying Uber to ensure that you actually you are actually delivered where you're supposed to go.
I would think, I don't know where Walter is, but he could easily like swing by on his route and pick him up.
Simon told me I could show it, so it's happening now. I don't even know.
FBI got Sandra.
Yeah, we're
talking about flooding Laredo.
You know, it's really strange how you can't say, or you can't even think. You can think about shopping for fertilizer for your front yard, and all of a sudden, the ads come up on social media. It's like, seriously, we need to capture the picture of Sandra.
Yes. Well, oh, here we go. The rain
I'm sure it was nothing but short of lovely.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the infamous rain dance.
Wouldn't it be funny if when he did his final reach to the sky, if thunder or lightning would have like shattered? I bet he would come 6 feet off the ground.
If he had been struck by lightning, sorry, Simon, you've been sacrificed.
Yeah, well, we don't want to lose Simon, but
well, look at Sandra.
I know.
Please capture that.
Capture that picture. Capture that, Simon.
It looks like she's going through an exorcism right now.
Yeah. She said she was having power problems. We're just having.
Yes.
I mean, up until about 10 minutes ago, it was still dark outside.
Power just came back on. It was out this morning.
Oh.
Hello. So kind of
welcome to the show.
Are y'all our hosts today?
Yes, we just continue on without you now. We know what to do. It's fine.
It's funny because like I hear everything and I can still put the comments up, but it's like not today. The FBI is getting pissed off with me. I just know it.
Well,
Oh my god. Oh, speaking of FBI, I had the funniest meme for you guys.
on her phone, of course.
Of course it was on my phone. Would you expect anything less? It's got a picture of a guy from the FBI. Just so you can see the picture. And it says, "She didn't take the bait, sir. She said, 'Nice try, Fed boy,' and sent me a meme calling me a dumbass."
Oh, we need that one.
That one's gonna be on the new commercial. I'm gathering. If you have any good memes or great pictures or screenshots, Simon, we need it for the new commercial because it's got to get done, and I'm the only one that can do it. Unless someone out there in cyberspace wants to do one for me, would be so appreciative if you would do that. That'd be fantastic. Random person in cyberspace. Hey, FBI guy, you've got all of our greatest moments. Could you?
Yes.
Could you make?
See, they got her again. What's up with this? Well, Rachel, how are you today?
Oh my goodness. I am recovering from my traumatization from this last weekend. Yes, we had the big kerfuffle in Chambers County about our pornographic book in our library, and I really want Sandra to hear about it. So come on, FBI, get her back on here. We're ready to get going. We got a lot to discuss today.
That's
a
right.
lot.
And we need Sandra here. Welcome back. She can hear, she just can't talk or move.
Yeah, but you need to be able to talk about it because I want to hear what you think about this too. So, okay, well, I'll go ahead and, if it's okay, I'll go ahead and tell the story, and then hopefully she'll be able to jump back in. So, there's another lady in our community, another mom, and also a professional educator and counselor who discovered some inappropriate materials in our county libraries. And she had reached out to the head librarian. She had tried to address the situation, down at the smallest level of the chain of command, of course. And she was basically brushed off and disregarded. And so it finally came to the point where she said, okay, that's it. I'm speaking up, right? So she reached out to some other moms to our Republican women's group and said, hey, can I bring this up? Can I address this at your next meeting? And we said, sure, of course, we're here. This is part of our mission, right? To protect families, to protect Texas children, all of those things, right? So she comes and talks about the book, and there just so happened to be an elected county official at that meeting. Okay, I was not aware of this. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. We're going to get something done about this. So this was on Thursday. Fast forward to Friday night at about 7 p.m. Chambers County official Facebook page made a post saying that the book had been removed from the library altogether. It was removed.
Good.
And of course, that started a whole poop storm.
So did you say the title of the book?
I did not. I haven't said the title of the book. But then on Friday, I found out what is the process to get a book reviewed for reconsideration. And so I filed that form and gave the reasons why I was filing that form, all of that, following the proper procedure and protocol, right? That's in place. So either way, it was being addressed, right? So yesterday we had a library advisory board meeting, and several of us showed up, and a couple of us made public comment so that the library advisory board could see what is in the book. The other mom had a large version of the particular most egregious page of illustration printed out so that we could
Verify.
lay it for everyone to see. Like, this is what your children are being exposed to in your county library. So there was no, it's black and white, right? It's not, I'm not sure, that's your opinion. No, these are facts. This is the truth. This is what's in the book, right? So of course, we had several people who were not happy with the county's decision to remove the book from the library. Several people who were not happy that parents chose to speak up and say, we don't support this in our libraries. So we are anticipating that this is going to be an ongoing battle that we're going to, because there are some other books that certainly contain some questionable materials in the libraries. I don't know if you're familiar with the list of filthy books that an SREC member, Kristen Bentley, has been sending to Texas legislators. So been looking on that list, and I started to search one by one in our public Chambers County library system to see if we have those books. And after about 10 of them, I said, I'm not searching anymore because we have every book.
Wow.
Wow.
Every book that I checked for was in at least one of the library branches, if not multiple. And we're talking about books that are not just, it's not like when we were kids. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah.
Because I remember, being in junior high and high school and checking out books that talked about sexuality, talked about relationships, romantic relationships, those kinds of things, but they were not graphic. They were not explicit, not like this, not like what's in libraries today. So it's been a weekend. It has been a weekend.
I can't quite wrap my head around the concept of writing pornography for children. Like, if you want to write pornography, help yourself. There's a whole genre for you. Like, half of our mothers read those paperback books that they always could buy at the grocery store or whatever, and they'd all pass around. Whatever.
Yeah, the Harlequin romances, and I mean, yeah.
And they even have the darker ones, right? You got the 50 Shades of Grey stuff. You have all those kinds of books. So, I mean, to market them to an adult, it's an open market. Like, people are buying them. So it's not like you don't have to worry about people not buying them. What freak gets off on the idea of turning on a child?
The freak that wants to destroy the family. Because what better way to destroy a family by then reaching out to your children? When your children behave, couples get along much better. When your children starts acting out in ways that is not good to either, it causes great tension at home. Whether you both agree that this should not be there or not, it causes a lot of tension. It's just like anything else. If you have a child that's failing in school, that causes tension in a marriage because both parents are trying to figure out what they do to fix it, how they fix it, who's at fault, because it gets down to, it's your fault you didn't make them sit down and do their homework, or you were too lenient or whatever. But it causes a tension in the family. And I think that putting this trash out for them does more than that, but it plants seeds there where there doesn't need to be. Because if it's an only child and it's a boy, that's one thing. But if there's a girl in the house, then you got added problems because no book comes in the house that the kid doesn't find. I mean, how often do they find your hidden cookies? They just find them. So it's not like you can hide stuff because children find whatever you have hidden. So, if one child sees it, the other child sees it. It just leads to bad things happening.
Well, it's just kind of funny you say it that way because I say it all the time. The oldest two, when they were little, they were like perfect little saints. Like I could hide their Christmas presents and birthday presents in plain sight. And they loved the idea that there was going to be a surprise so much they would never look for it. If you said no, that was the end of it. I mean, they were just little angels. Everyone loved to watch them. But these little two, they're crazy. They're insane. You've seen it firsthand, Miss Patty. They're insane.
They're
And you
sneaky.
can't hide anything.
They can be sneaky.
They're very sneaky, these two. These two are just like me and my brother, and it scares the absolute hell out of me.
Well, it ought to. You know,
Well, and what does it say? You know, who knows the heart? It is devious. It is deceitful. You know, we are born with a bent to deceive, to seek out things that we're not supposed to be looking
True.
at or listening to. You don't have to teach a kid to lie or to steal or to be selfish, right?
no.
They're born that way.
And once
That's why
they
we have to train a child, and we have to train our own hearts in the way they should go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
And once they
scary. And, you know, I think that this is part of what we're seeing, what's playing out in Plainview. It's because of this raunchiness. You know what I mean? Like, look, there's parents who look at pornography and things like that. And that's, as an adult, as a consensual adult, you have that right to. But when your child is so involved in it that they're not only talking about it at school, but they're physically taking it to school. This isn't a Playboy magazine anymore. Like these are videos. These are hardcore, just raunchy crap. And they're taking it to school. They took the father's cell phone to school multiple times to show pornography to his fellow 6-year-old friends.
I have so much to say there that it's just.
I know. I
believe
knew today would be fun and
Yeah.
explosive.
I think it was Albert Einstein who said technology would be the downfall of civilization. These little things that we have that we all carry everywhere is one thing. If you don't know when your child has yours, that's another thing. If it's not locked where they can't get in, that's another thing. And if they have their own, it's like a car. The first day you give your child a car to go somewhere, once he pulls out of that driveway and he's out of your sight, you have zero idea where he went. And don't think just because he's a good child, he won't go where he shouldn't go.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they'll go as far as they can go and stretch it as far as they can stretch it because they are free in their minds. They're free.
Well, and they're testing limits. They're testing boundaries. That's what kids do.
Yeah.
No, you're spot on. And you know, one of the things that we did, we made sure that the kids always have had an Apple because they have at least better parent controls on them. I can physically stop them in the middle of something wherever I'm at in the world. And I'm sure Android has come along and gotten better, but there were so many loopholes that when the first time we found a loophole, the Androids were gone. The little ones, and they have never, ever been allowed to touch our electronics. The little ones are not allowed to have our phones. They're not allowed to have our passwords or anything along those lines. They have their iPads. They are super locked down. And there's restrictions. And if they even get like YouTube Kids was one that we've been very with because there's still so many loopholes inside of there. Yeah. And the second that Arthur figured out the first loophole, because there was like one or two, and they were innocent, but they were annoying. And it just had that slippery slope feel about it. So we were all like, no, we're not doing this. And I tell everybody, I said, look, when Alex and Austin step in and said, you know what, I don't think that they should be watching this one. Good enough for me. When your teenagers are saying, this is bad.
Well, a teenager will protect the younger child usually, because I know, well, sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. My brother used to tell lies about if he didn't want me to date someone, like he didn't want me to date Dennis, and he would tell lies about him. And he would say, you know, like, he's older. Well, he was a little older than they thought he was, but he would say, this person's too old for her. And of course, they would believe him. It's like, no, he's not. He's not 2 years. He's just 2 years older. Anyway.
Yeah.
So usually, though, when it comes to protecting, they're usually good at protecting, but not always.
Well, and I've had to laugh at Austin in the last in this last week since we found out about this Plainview stuff. And I've been raving about how protective he is. And well, both of the boys, but you know, Austin and I've had a lot of time in the car since the story is broken and everything. And he's like, why do you keep saying we're such good protectors? I mean, we're just not jerks.
Well,
Okay, so Sandra, for context, I think you need to tell the Plainview story because there are probably people who don't know what happened.
Yes. So sadly there are. So we'll give the quick version, even though it's not really quick. That way you guys can at least be caught up into the conversation. And for disclosure, on Monday's show, we did about an hour and a half of this whole story, and we spoke to the victim's cousin. So this happened 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, a 6-year-old little boy forced a 6-year-old little girl under a table in their first grade classroom and forced her to give him a blowjob. It gets worse. The little girl was beating him with the book that she had, begging him to stop, and that she didn't want to do it. Other boys were recording it with a school iPad and kind of running cover. It gets even better. So these boys have been going all year long, showing their private parts to the girls while they're standing in line and when they're in the library, at the lunchroom. It didn't matter. So these boys have had a history. So this has been going on all year long. Finally, this happens to this little girl. Well, the school calls the little girl lives with her grandparents. The school calls the grandparents and says, hey, just to let you know, there was a thing with an iPad, but everything's under control and we're good. And they were just kind of like, oh, okay.
Wow.
Then fast forward like 2 or 3 days after that, all of a sudden, a CPS worker comes into the little girl at school and interviews her.
Without the grandparents' consent?
Without the grandparents' consent and without them having any idea why. Now, CPS, unfortunately, let me rephrase this. This goes both ways. CPS has the ability to speak to a child without the parents' consent.
Yes.
In most cases, that's okay.
Right, because if they suspect that there's abuse or neglect going on in the home, and that makes sense, right? But this is not that.
This is not that. This happened at school. So the little girl comes home and she's very upset. And so they finally had to kind of poke and prod a little bit, if you will, found out. Now, this wasn't just a CPS worker, like a woman or something along those lines. Imagine a big guy like Walter coming in to speak to a little 6-year-old, asking her about the potential of a man shoving, or a boy shoving his penis into her mouth. She was absolutely traumatized and devastated.
Yeah.
So the parent or the grandparents are outraged. The school's not answering any questions. They're saying, you know what? Y'all are blowing this up out of proportion. You have no right to do this. We're taking care of this. They weren't taking care of this. All they did was put the teacher on administrative leave. The teacher was in the classroom when this happened. The principal is still intact. The school board's trustee, the president or the ISD or whatever, superintendent, I'm sorry. His name is Sanchez. He has a history of leaving school boards because of the same reason, sexual behavior issues within students. And he gets like a $200,000 payout whenever he leaves. It's a tangled, disgusting mess.
Who was the state?
Go ahead, Ms.
Who was the state rep and senator for that area?
I can find that out right this second. So I do know that the family had reached out to the sheriff because the ISD police officer is a friend of the parents of the boy, or the dad of the boy anyway. So they weren't getting anywhere at the school. Hey,
I did it.
Mary.
Sandra.
Good morning.
We're having issues on Sandra's end. So the school ISD police officer was a friend of the dad, so they weren't getting anywhere there. So then they came back around and they said, you know, after talking to Walter, they reached out to the sheriff. The sheriff said, this is an ISD jurisdiction problem, so I'm not touching it.
Whoa. Forced sexual contact, no matter where it happens, is still breaking the law.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go to the DA then and say the sheriff's got a problem too.
Well, so I spoke to a sheriff and I said, hey, this is what's going on. And he's like, that's awful. And I said, yeah. And I said, and the sheriff isn't going to do anything about it. And he goes, well, what did the sheriff say? And I said, well, he said that it was the ISD's problem because it's their jurisdiction. And he goes, fair. He goes, did anybody reach out to him for help? And I said, yeah, the parents did. And he goes, oh, now it's all of a sudden his jurisdiction.
I'm sorry, nothing in that county is outside of his jurisdiction as the
That's
sheriff.
right. He's
That's
the
exactly
most
right.
Person in the county. The buck stops with him.
Exactly. And people need to understand what their elected officials are and are not responsible and accountable for, and then hold them to it. So sorry, Sheriff, you don't get to decide that this isn't good for your political career and then back away. That's not how this works.
Let's see.
And this is one of the effects of allowing this pornographic material in school at any level. It shouldn't have been as a parent, it shouldn't have been in the home. The child should not have had the phone. The dad should never have put anything on his phone that he didn't want his kids to see.
Oh no, who's the rep? Who's the senator?
Well, I found this the U.S. rep first. It's Jody Arrington,
Okay, well,
Republican.
well, we found out this last several weeks that sometimes even our Republicans behave badly and have to leave the legislature. But anyway, as a parent, you really wouldn't want anything that your kid could get to that they shouldn't see. If they shouldn't see it, if the parent thinks it's okay enough that he has it where his child can find it, and then he can also take his phone and download and show porn at school. We're talking 6 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a dysfunctional family that the little boy is, that the boys are in. And it's being perpetrated by the fact that all this stuff is readily available to him. And no telling what he watches on TV. I mean, I think Child Protection Services ought to be going out to that house and finding out what's going on there. And maybe, just maybe, you'll find out that, I mean, is it really his father or is it a mother's boyfriend? Because I think you find a lot of abuse cases come in families where it's not the biological parents.
Right.
But
Well,
to me,
and that
it's
was something that I had implied also, and that was not necessarily the case. This was supposed to be a really nice family.
so the
A really nice family that is letting their 6-year-old have their phone, take their phone to school, and there's pornography downloaded onto the phone. That's a really nice family.
Yeah, I beg to differ.
Yeah, I'm
I just
not
report
buying it.
Yeah. Well, and
Okay,
the
so his
fact that this had been going on in the schools, this sort of thing had been going on. Trouble is here. That this sort of thing had been going on in the schools and nothing was done about it. What were they waiting for? What was going to be the actual straw that broke the camel's back before they actually did something about it?
An adult outside of their system found out about it. Just like in the same case of ours, someone said, hey, wait a minute. Because the librarians and the people who work at the library, the people who are minding the store and are responsible, had approved and cataloged and placed this material on.
So his house rep is Ken King. It's District 88.
There must not be anything there because Walter's silent.
He told him back.
It's
Yes,
been a long night. It's been a long night, but yeah, that King, that would be the king of the groomers. Is that not correct?
Well, he's got a history with school boards. Apparently, he used to be the president of the school board in Canada.
Don't even try it. Canadian. No, just don't even try it.
That county. That ISD.
CA.
It's like Canada, but then it's at the end. It's Canada IAN.
Too much time. You're good.
Yeah, we get the picture. Sort of.
Sometimes I hate
Anyway.
him. And then Charles Perry is the senator.
Of course he is.
All Republicans.
Nice view, Walter.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Can you see Mexico? Is that what you're showing us?
If I go that way, I can. Way over there.
So you're in El Paso?
I'm in El Paso, and all the you'll have to contact your peeps, but yeah, all the I've been here while the Venezuelans were being let out onto the streets, and there seems to be a discrepancy of numbers by the thousands. So
Surprise, surprise.
Are there thousands more?
well, when they say, oh, only 300 or 400, and then you get there and you're like 1, 2, 3, 900, 901, 902, 903, and then you're like, oh, 1117, 1118. And you're actually physically counting to those, and you're like, how did y'all get 300?
They probably went to school under Common Core.
As exactly the UNESCO, because the UN does have a treatment or a housing center right over there in Juarez. So, oh well.
Well, and you've got the president of the United States stating it's going to be chaotic for a few days, just a little bit ago. And then
just for a few days.
Yeah. And then you got
Right.
Mayorkas saying, oh, we've been working on this plan for years. And if you come across illegally, you're not going to be allowed to apply for asylum. The guy lies like there's no tomorrow. I was on a radio show the other day and they said, well, Mayorkas didn't even know about the wristbands. And I said, well, of course he's going to say he didn't know about the wristbands because he says the border's secure. And if he says that he knows about the wristband issue, piles of them on our side of the border, then he's admitting that he's been lying to the American people. So I don't know.
Okay, do you want a cringe moment from HB 20?
I think he was correct on the border being secure. It's securely under the control of the cartels.
That is 110% true.
Yes.
When I was testifying for HB 20, Matt Schaefer holds up, that was his ace in the hole. He thought he was going to have like an aha moment. And he holds up, these are wristbands. And I was like, oh. It was literally the most cringeworthy testimony I've ever seen. It equaled, what was that congressman who talks about Guam tipping over? That's what it equaled to me.
Hank Johnson.
Johnson,
Yeah.
yeah. And the
I
thing
can't
is,
with
he
these.
was serious. He was serious.
Bless him.
Even the dog backed
Walter
up.
had to, Say that again, Miss Patty.
I said, even the dog backs up that statement.
Right. They're mad because I shut the front door. They like to look out the front door all morning. It's like 67 degrees here this morning in Phoenix, Arizona in May. And
Wow.
so I shut the
Hey, that-
front door to do the podcast, and they're kind of pissed off at me right now.
It's 68 degrees here
Is it?
in my hotel room. Yeah.
Shut up.
It's good to be the king, isn't it? So Walter gave me some good news this morning about HB 20. Walter, do you want to share that? And then we'll have our favorite moment
Oh,
of the day.
I thought the good news was going to be that he's pregnant.
Who's
we're
what?
going to do a big reveal party.
Oh, sorry.
Who's pregnant?
You.
You.
Nah. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to lose more so I don't look like it. But anyway, that yeah. So HB 20 was amended by an amendment was offered by Ryan Guillen at HB 7, and HB 20 has been tucked into 7 as an amendment, which is funny because that's what Sandra, if I'm not mistaken, that's what you had in your testimony against HB 20. You said it would be better to be tucked into one of these. So did they listen to you? I mean, we were on that Zoom with Schaefer. Did he call Guillen and say, "Hey, help a brother out"? Because
I didn't just say it in that Zoom. I said it in my testimony in front of the House committee.
yeah, but the sheriffs that are in Guillen's district were on that Zoom, and I think everybody was pretty mad about what had happened whenever we figured out that this was just something that was drawn up. These legislators, it's actually very comical. I was with Christy Craddock yesterday, and this goes along with it. She made the statement, there's a lot of our legislators that don't know what's going on in oil and gas. And so our railroad commissioners, which is oil and gas, they have to go over and talk to the legislative council. They have to talk to each legislator because they don't know. And it was very clear when we were with the sheriffs and Mr. Schaefer on the private meeting. It was very clear that there was not a lot of continuity and knowledge about what was happening with the border, that he was given something, and this goes back from my statement that we have the kids that are running the asylum up there, and it's not even our elected legislators. It's the staffers they're pushing these certain agendas because they're getting with other staffers from other offices. And, we're seeing orgies and panty parties, and then we're seeing crappy bills. And this is why, because, the kids that are still trying to figure out how to do the best keg stand are the ones running Austin instead of the folks that we elect. And in the crossfire, we're getting caught. So with 20 getting tucked into 7, that was actually a very good move. There was a lot of tweaks to it. So Sandra, your testimony against 20, which a lot of people were confused, I think was it still stands as a good gauge on what's going on. The sad part is all the kids that were from here in El Paso that went to testify about the white supremacy going on in El Paso. It was very comical because there was only 2 white guys. It was me and Sheriff Capers walking around last night. Everybody was of a different skin color, not necessarily black, but a little bit of a lighter color. And even the perfect English speaking law enforcement agents were had a dialect of Spanish that was very coincidental to Mexico. So that being said, I guess I was one of the only white supremacists in the area down there, because the brown supremacists were everywhere. And, those kids came in and testified of the white supremacy perpetrated by the police. And literally most of the police force here, between 80 and 90% is Hispanic. We were at a restaurant last night, and you could just see it. The food was okay. It was very El Paso-esque, but at the same time, the service was very "I'm better than you" liberal. We were definitely out of towners, and the hospitality wasn't there. They were like, "Oh, it was ridiculous." I order a plate, and they're like, "Well, it's going to be this much, and are you okay with the tax? It's going to be this much more." And I'm going, I literally have a credit card, and like the rest of America right now, I'm hungry and I just don't care. I'll even leave a good tip if I get good service. And we had to say stuff like that, and it was just very odd that this is a very entitled leftist part of Texas. To be honest with you, I think we should cede it over to Juarez and let Mexico keep it.
Well, parts of it anyway. There are nice parts.
Walter, I have a
part-
question.
there's a really nice part right there by Sunland Park where there's like wall built that, on the side of the hill.
I-
Beautiful.
The wall.
Yes.
So that's
We
where
build the wall.
that's where before the wall was there, and Chad Wolf was out there. I was there, and I accidentally walked into Mexico because you could do that there.
Right.
And I almost got arrested, and all these agents, the federal agents between CBP and I guess there were some FBI and Homeland Security guys that were looking, and they were like, "Oh no, he's caught." And the Mexican police were right there, AR-15s, the whole bit. And in usual, typical, normal fashion, y'all know me. I literally grabbed one of them by his neck and said, "Hey, let's get a selfie together." And I took a series of 15 shots. And I was able to finagle myself back across the border because there's literally only a line on the concrete at that monument. Matter of fact, I have a picture of myself in capers next to that. And I was telling him the story, and he looked, he goes, "I thought you were full of crap." He goes, "I could see." And we walked into Mexico. There was nobody there at that location. We drove right up to it, pulled around the side of it. We were at We Build the Wall. There was absolutely nobody there. And you could see the foot traffic that was there. And every other time we've ever been there, there's been Mexican police on the Mexican side. And this is the point where Mexico, New Mexico, and Texas come together. And you could literally see everything there. There was absolutely nobody there. It was vacant all the way back. So if you want us to know if the wall works or not, even though the gate was open, you want to know if the wall works or not, I think that right there proved it, because it's too rugged to get back in there, and there was a wall there. So nobody was coming through.
I guess what I
Sandra's
finally
back here
found.
going. Sandra's going. Ooh, 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 ooh.
I finally found it.
That's what you've been preoccupied with.
Uh-oh.
Now, keep in mind, this was at 1:40 in the morning.
With her favorite blazer on
Yes. Walter's favorite.
and tennis shoes.
Is she talking?
We can't hear you.
Is there sound?
Yeah, y'all can't hear it.
No.
No.
Okay, hold on.
Best video I've ever heard.
Shut up, Walter.
Uh,
Why isn't that playing sound? Oh, I know what. I know. Okay, let me try this again.
That little thing that says speaker. Yeah, just
Well, because
Click on
I
it.
have this microphone muted, so it muted it.
How many microphones do you have?
Well, because remember my computer went all stupid. So now I'm over
Well,
here on my phone.
this is funny. She actually has to mute herself to hear herself talk.
Like Walter's dreams come true. Oh, come on. Stupid
maybe
state
we have
stuff.
to go to commercial and you work on it.
Oh, it is commercial time, isn't it? All right, let's do that.
That was a subtle hint.
That was in fact a subtle hint. Did Diamond put it in there?
No.
We're going to take a commercial break, y'all, and we'll be right back. Just kidding. We're back with a huge thank you to our amazing sponsors, the Montgomery County Tea Party. Don't forget the first and the third Monday of the month. Be at Citizens Grill in Conroe, Texas at 6:30 is when the meeting starts. It's always a great time. It's lots of people there, lots of next to hugs, lots of information. So bring a pen because you're not going to want to miss out. Well, and paper. You should have a pen and paper. You can't have one without the other. It's not going to work. Okay. Also, huge thank you to the Vietnam Veterans of America. Your service and sacrifice went far beyond foreign shores. So we appreciate everything that you've done and continue to do for your community and for your fellow veterans. If you are interested in hosting a commercial here on Texas Fully Loaded, please let us know. We would love to make your dream a reality. If you don't have a commercial or something that you want to advertise or anything along those lines, let us know any way that you love us and that you want to support our show. Go to TexasFullyLoaded.com, click on hashtag We the People Work. You can also go to Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo at Texas Fully Loaded. Also, I hate having multiple things because now I hear everything in echo. All right, here are the people. There's that beautiful lady. There's this beautiful lady. There's this not beautiful lady. And Rachel is not there.
Hey, I identify as a beautiful lady sometimes on Thursdays.
Hey, Walter, what
Why
you
on
drinking?
Thursday?
Yeah, it's Wednesday.
Well then, I guess I'm not that pretty today. Although I was feeling pretty.
What is that you're drinking, Walter?
Coffee from a glass because they
No,
don't
that's
have.
not. No, that's not coffee.
That's totally coffee. Hey, here's the best part. So I'm here with a cop that he's in his 60s, and this guy's garbage. It looks like Sandra's pantry. There's so much chocolate and Little Debbie and Girl Scout cookies. I was like, yeah, it's diabetes with a badge.
Ping me your location. Chocolate.
This jackwagon sent me a video last night of a Nutter Butter in the middle of a bed. And then a box of Girl Scout Thin Mints. And I was like, I didn't even have any Girl Scout cookies this year. And he goes, oh, I have.
I gave up. I love Girl Scout cookies, but I gave them up a few years back when they went woke. And I used to buy like 10 boxes and put them in the freezer
Yes.
because I was so in love with them, but I haven't had one since then. It's very sad when you can't trust the Girl Scouts.
In fairness, Simon, we're also taking people who want to just do our digital crap so that I don't have to try and figure it out.
So I've got some good news for y'all.
Good, we need some good news.
This past week, Angel Mom and Florida State Representative Kyan Michael got HB 1617, the big immigration bill, passed through the House, passed through the Senate, and Governor DeSantis actually flew into Jacksonville, which is her hometown, today. They called and invited me yesterday, but it was like too short a notice. But he is going there today to sign it into law. And this is a huge win. Anybody caught crossing the Florida border, knowingly transporting illegals, will be criminally charged. The E-Verify is in place for any business, 25 employees or larger, which of course, a lot of the Democratic legislators and some of the Republicans were kind of complaining about it because, oh dear, it's going to affect their businesses. So rules for thee, but not for me. It's just unbelievable. And I had some people call me too about the E-Verify. Why are they doing that? And then I find out they're employing an illegal housekeeper, but it's the only way we're going to stop the jobs from happening. And they're all going to go home because 99.5% of them are here for a job.
Well, and Marianne, so here's what people don't know, Marianne. I was talking to a farmer who, when his farm is not being, I mean, he's got a huge farm. He's got farms on both sides of the border. And when his farm is not, it's planted and the people aren't there to harvest, they go throughout the country. And do you know how much he pays these guys that work for him? Just throw a guess, just a spitball out there.
15 an hour.
Okay, you're very close to it, and they get paid that much because they have visas. Every last one of them, they have their cards, they have everything they need, and when they cross state lines, they can be vetted with that ID that they've got. They don't work through a cartel, they don't work through anything else. So when you employ an illegal alien, you're usually employing at half to a third of the price. So it's better for our bottom line to keep them illegal, but yet there's farmers that are making, and these guys are making in the millions of dollars. These are good, hardworking people. They've created a fortune for them and their family, their lineage, the whole bit, and they're doing it legally. And if you look at that, we can't get people off the couch for $12 an hour. We can't get people off the. I mean, in the minimum wage for an HB1 visa or HB2, I forget which one the agricultural is, but the minimum wage is mandated by the federal government is $13.80. So
Wow.
with workers' comp and with the benefits that are required for the time that they're there, because it's a seasonal thing. And you've got to look at that. You've got these people that are, where they're calling for a minimum wage across, all these other areas. If they would just allow the process for illegals to become legal, but they're so caught up in making this whole border wall thing racism. They're so caught up in, we've got to let the cartels smuggle these people in. I mean, think of how much money we're losing as a tax-paying country, because that's our money. Think of how much money we're losing on the fact that if we would just help the process open up, because we know not everyone's going to want to go out there and pick onions or watermelons, I totally get it. But the fact that they're not allowing the people, there's more people that can benefit from this. And I'm watching Venezuelans, and these Venezuelans coming in, they're not the cream of the crop. They're looking for the next free thing is what they're looking for. And our liberals are here to give it out, and that's ours.
Well, and so, the argument, I was listening to all the hearings down there in the Florida House, and a lot of the Democrats were arguing because, if the key word is if you're knowingly transporting illegals across the border. And so they were saying, well, what about Catholic Charities? And, they've got contracts with the federal government to take these people. And it's like, you've just answered your own question. If they've got a contract to transport illegals, then they're knowingly transporting illegals. But the other good thing is that if you're caught in Florida as an illegal with a driver's license from any state that's just handing them out like candy to these illegals, the driver's license will not be recognized in Florida, and you will be charged criminally for driving without a license. The list goes on and on and on about what this bill covers. And I just wanted to put a shout out there and make people aware of the fact that an Angel Mom is in office and she's making a difference in Florida. And bravo to Angel Mom, Kayam Michael.
And she's just an amazing, awesome person anyway.
Yes.
I thought you
So-
were doing a flip.
I thought she
All
fell
right.
out of her chair. Yeah.
Hey, Walter,
It's too early in the day for that.
this is my bacon mama. Like my bacon daddy. Never mind, it's over his head.
He's not drinking coffee.
I run cops and I get carries.
Now he's speaking alien.
Yeah, you're speaking alien again, Walt. Okay, so Walter sent me some videos.
He's frozen.
Like that would just look at him. Okay, here's the pictures that Walter's.
At least it's not.
What is
one
it
in the
that men say when they're trying to be all funny? A good woman should just sit there and look pretty. Well, look, he's just sitting there looking pretty.
At least it's not the picture of him in the shower.
Okay. You missed that yesterday.
I'm watching you walk.
I'm glad I missed it.
I was nervous putting that video up. Okay, so Walter is here
Oh,
with.
God.
Mayorkas is scrambling the cell towers in El Paso.
And Loretta. Don't you worry about it.
That should
Get
tell
on
you
the hotel's
something.
Wi-Fi, Walter. Why
Please.
you gotta make this so painful? Okay.
Ooh.
Sandra,
Come
I'm
back.
I cannot.
Back.
I can't find this.
It's not okay. Let me see if we can pull it up on my end again. We'll try it again.
Okay, because it's just not working for me. I finally got the link to open, but I'm not.
You know, there's probably
I
a
don't want
lot
the truth
going
out.
on in the world today that we can't seem to connect. I hear noise.
What the
not-
bananas? Can y'all not hear it again?
No.
No. Can you sign it?
Wait. hold on. I tell you guys, there's always more than one way to skin a cat.
Sandra, why don't you just tell us what you said?
That's a great idea.
I'll do the voiceover.
Yes.
I'll just do the voiceover. That'll make it easier. All right, one more time. Y'all are looking at my hand. I just realized that. I apologize. But that way you can hear it.
I think Charlotte can do it. She's in the other room.
Hold on. I have too many windows open. Here we go. Okay.
Okay. Here we go.
I hate technology. All right. I give up. Y'all are going to have to look up on your own. I quit.
Just put the link in the comments of your podcast, right? Charlotte.
No, we're not by y'all yet, Charlotte.
Is that the voiceover?
This show is far from over, little girl.
We just getting started, honey.
We're just getting started. That's right. We haven't even begun. There it is. Gosh darn it. I testified twice in this video. I don't know
Wow.
what the first one is, but it was during HB 7, and then the second time for HB 12. I'm sorry, HB 20 is right around 12:50, 12 hours and 50 minutes. Yeah. How much fun I was having there. All right, hold on.
Okay, Rachel.
Take over the show.
Here we
Yeah.
are. We've been here today.
So I did see some clips on just a stranger, I don't even know, someone who was just posting where they were driving down the streets of El Paso, showing the flood of illegal immigrants who have poured in. I mean, it was kind of crazy. There were just people everywhere on the sidewalks, and there were people who were bedding down for the night because this was at nighttime. But I mean, there was just so many people on the sidewalks. It looked like when you have a parade, and there's just people everywhere on the sidewalk for the parade. It looked like that. There were just people everywhere.
It's going to get 10 times worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not just going to be for a couple of days.
No.
And it's going to spill over and overflow into every place that has means, or the charities, or the places that these people can go to get something to be provided for.
Well, and they're also going to be just dropped in places that don't have the means to take care of them. And that's when I hope you start hearing from the people and something happens. Another thing that Mayorkas said when he was speaking this morning is that in the next few months, they're going to be sending 650,000 people back. They're going to be deporting them. And I'm like, that's a drop in the bucket, number one, compared to how many they've already let through. And number two, to the amount of people that are going to be coming through in the next few days. You know, I think that we're going to see over 1 million people in the next couple of days. It's going to be a flood. It's going to be a tsunami.
Yes, and why would they wait to start sending people back? That makes absolutely zero sense.
No, Mayorkas is trying
Going
to
to send
save
them
face.
back and send them back now, or I could suggest this: don't let them come in the first place. How about that?
Prevention would be the best solution.
Yes. But I think Mayorkas is trying to save face because of all the rumblings about impeaching him. And so, you know, he's going to say anything. He's such a snake. He's such a treasonous snake. I really would like to go face to face with him and have a conversation. I really would.
Well, I mean, why
It would
would
be
you
more
go
like,
that?
hi, yeah. And a
Exactly.
kick in the right place.
Why would you even go that far? The fact that, I mean, the fact that people are listening to this, it's literally like the kid lying off on the corner, you know, hands on his ear. No, really, this is exactly what's going on. Trust me, we know what we're doing. It's not what you think it is. And, you know, the lies after lies after lies. I mean, at what point does the FBI not arrest this guy? Oh, never mind. I forget. They're involved too. The fact that these agents are placed in do they violate their oath, or do they violate the unlawful policy they're given? You know,
Right. What
it-
would happen tomorrow, Walter, if every Border Patrol agent called in sick?
yeah, and you know, and what we're seeing right now is we're seeing the local police. You know, like I said, I was being profiled because I was not of color here in El Paso, but yet in Austin, that the idiot legislator in Houston, all they heard was, "Oh, it's a bunch of white supremacist cops," because they have white cops in Houston. But that's not the case over here in El Paso. It's a mass group of Hispanics, and these guys over here, I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of the guys we were with last night they're super people, and you know, hey, I've been working as a cop for 28 years, and if I didn't have kids in college, I'd be done with this, you know. And you know, this takes a heavy toll. This isn't the police officer career that everybody signed up for 28 years ago, 20 years ago. You know, this new group of cops that are coming in, they're being conditioned to policies and procedures as opposed to what the Constitution actually reads.
Exactly.
And remember, they're the first people to interpret the Constitution. They're the first people to interpret criminal law. They're the first people to interpret this and actually apply it to the situation to make it stop. And
Yes.
and then we have people in Austin. Oh, we need to. Well, when they go to Austin, that are from other parts of the country, of the state, and they make these statements. Oh, we need comprehensive gun reform. Why do you need comprehensive gun reform? You physically had bad guys with guns, so now this is the time to have good guys with guns, because you're like in Allen, Texas. Your police officer was accidentally there, and he was accidentally there by himself. He took the shooter out. In Uvalde, there were 400 cops that were on purposefully there, and they waited.
Right.
So again, you know, whenever we have these many groups of people coagulating together, they go with gang mentality. Uvalde, let's wait for the orders to come down. Let's wait for the orders to come down. They waited on orders from a coward. Allen, Texas, what happened there? One guy said, "Oh, I've got to shoot, move, and communicate. I need to take this guy down and walk past the victims and get to the threat." He took him down. Same thing that happened in Cleveland, Texas. They were answering a call to a shooting. They actually, by the time to firing a gun, so by the time it actually became a shooting, they were 3 to 4 minutes away. And if you would see the streets, they had the roads they had to drive down. I mean, we're talking craters as big as 1984 Beirut craters, and the stuff they had to drive through to get there. That the cop that was there was a seasoned Harris County deputy that is in his second career as a police officer because he retired from the first one. You know, and keep this in mind: those were illegal aliens. Period. The ones that were killed and the ones that did the shooting. And they want to jump on the governor for saying, "Oh, we have a $50,000 reward for the murder of the illegal aliens." Call it what it is. Illegal aliens don't come out and report things because they're afraid they're going to get deported. And if there's anything they should have learned during the Obama administration, well, actually during this administration, is they're not going to get deported, and they should have been able to call 911.
Amen.
Okay. Let's try this all
I-
again.
I am
Walter,
so
I have your
happy.
pictures queued up.
Oh,
Oh, you
are we
got
going
it.
back to the money again?
She's obsessed.
I'm not trying the video anymore. This is Walter's stuff.
Oh, okay.
It's from last night.
Yes, I lied.
On a side
It's
note, I
almost-
just want to say I am so happy that my son got restationed elsewhere in the United States and is no longer in Fort Bliss.
Okay. Well, I guess we won't be having a cup of coffee then.
I know. But I had a great conversation with him last night. Oof. It's wonderful talking to him. I'll have to update you, Walter, on a separate phone call.
Watch out. Somebody watches his phone like a hawk.
I've got a burner now.
Oh, it's nothing that can't be said. It's just like I don't want to bore y'all with the details. I'm not.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
I always
Tori.
try and keep Walter safe.
Okay.
Walter,
An action.
Yes.
these are your pictures. I didn't know if you wanted to narrate them if I was doing this.
Is that
There-
Anthony?
Okay. Hey, there's me. There's Anthony. There's Anthony's personal security, which happens to be a cop. And then there's Sheriff Capers. Of course, y'all know him from the Cleveland massacre. He's out here. You know, he's learning firsthand on the border what's ending up in his county. So he has just declared the fact that his county in the middle of nowhere, Texas, is also a border county. To include Marianne, you first met him in Arizona whenever he was, you know, he attends all of the sheriff's conferences and actually has a good relationship with sheriffs around the nation. Unfortunately, he's just stuck in Podunk, San Jacinto County, but he's been a very big advocate for, the rule of law.
Right.
And there's the monument right there I was talking about where I almost got arrested. On this side right here, we're on the legal side. If you go to the other side of it, which would be over Sheriff Capers, his right shoulder there, you would cross a line which goes through the middle of that monument, and you would be illegally in Mexico, which I did do last night. Hello, Maria.
it again?
I did it. Are you kidding me? There was nobody there, and there's cameras everywhere.
Does the monument have writing in English and in Spanish?
Yes.
Or
It was actually
Okay.
placed there by George H.W. Bush during his
so
administration.
there was no excuse. There was no excuse for not being able to read it.
Well, I tried to. You have to walk on
Walter
the other
has
side
to
to read the
read.
Spanish. Hey, check that out. There
Where
we
Is that a
are.
plate
Restroom
of
is
bacon
that?
with jalapenos on top?
You know me. Come on, man.
Where is that?
That is at some restaurant. That's the restaurant. You know, I forget the name of it because I didn't want to go to McDonald's or something like that. But we also didn't want to go up to the Coochie Coo side of town. We were outside of Fort Bliss.
There's a wonderful Hispanic steakhouse there in El Paso. They have 2 locations, and I have to go there every time I'm there.
There's Walter hitting the rails.
Yep,
He's off
That
the
was
rails,
in-
clearly.
I was in Sanderson. Did you get the video?
Yeah, that.
So the video. The cool part about the video.
I like the other video better.
There's at least 15 cops that are piled up right there. And I think that's the one where they arrested a guy. Literally, they just fire up weed right there. I mean, in front of the police and everything, and start puffing. And I'm
That's
like,
not what
dude,
video you sent.
huh?
That's not what video you sent.
What video did I send?
The one where the wind is all like, and you're like at the stop sign.
Sandra, I
That's
have
the
your
one.
video ready.
Oh, let's see if we can hear it on your end.
Okay, I'm going to try.
Okay, this is it. If it doesn't work,
If it doesn't work, y'all are just gonna have to search it out yourself.
got it.
Oh no! It's way further.
Yeah, I don't know why it just backed up.
There
Hey,
you
look, there
go.
I am.
I can kind of hear her.
Oh yeah, you got to turn up the volume on your screen.
Failing to realize that there's also other legislation that is for this body, not necessarily today, but in this committee, that will go along and assist. Now, as a white woman, children, I find the rhetoric of racism completely
On the video, on the volume on the video.
useful to assume that anybody who is immediately racist against them because of the color of their skin. Very ignorant. Also, this border bill continues to put DPS at the helm of any border bill that continues to put DPS at the helm of anything other than the border will continue to put politics ahead of public safety. In Texas, we once had our own Texas Department of Homeland Security. It was our own entity that was incredibly successful. Over the years, I have publicly been critical of Governor Abbott. However, he was listening to the people on the border who are actually dealing with this crisis. We must continue to listen to our sheriffs and Michael Banks. Across Texas, the quote borders are, as much as I hate that term, have given our sheriffs a beacon of hope. Governor Abbott is listening to the people who live on the border, like myself, who live in Laredo, Texas, and the sheriffs who deal with making Operation Lone Star hugely successful in fighting the rape and human slave trade. Allowing this critical mission to be removed from DPS control and back into the hands of those who want to focus on border security and the web that encompasses it, like the human and rape slave trade, drugs, cartels, and violent crime, which I have personally been involved in witnessing with jurisdictional transitional task force with Mr. Banks' proven leadership will truly be able to fix the border security in Texas. Thank you.
We've got you down as against HB 20, correct?
Due to verbiage, yes.
No, are you against HB 20?
As it is currently written, yes.
That's fine. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, just really quick question, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Thank you. Do you believe that Steve McCraw, the head of DPS, should be in charge of border security?
No.
No, okay. Who in DPS should be, you believe DPS should still be in charge, correct?
No, I do not.
You do not. Okay, thank you. I was confused by your testimony. Thanks.
I was very clear that I believe the sheriffs who have the constitutional authority should be allowed to take care of that.
So DPS should have no role.
That is correct.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Libby Goldman.
And the award of the day goes to Rachel, our new tech.
Golf clap, everybody.
Congratulations.
I'm learning.
You're a much faster
You're learning
learner than
faster than I
Sandra.
am.
Standing.
She still has a few more brain cells left.
Not after that freaking testimony. Oh my gosh, it was the worst night ever.
And the question that he asked, I mean, I'm not sure how he was confused.
Well,
He was
He was,
So listen. And this is what I've had conversation with over the past several days. So these guys don't legislate. These guys don't investigate. These guys debate. And that's the problem we've got. Everybody wants a Charlie Kirk moment. Everybody wants a Ben Shapiro moment. And what needs to happen instead of the gotcha is let's inform people. Because, I sat down with a Democrat rep over in the Channelview area of Texas, of Houston. And, again, I said, well, where are you at on the border? She says, what does the border have to do with my area? And I was able, instead of going, oh, got to keep Texas red. Oh, Republicans, blah, 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 Democrats, blah, blah, blah. Instead of doing all that crap, I just literally stated, well, you realize you're Hispanic and your constituents are Hispanic and your area largely voted for Trump in 2020. Did you know that? And she looked at me, she's like, what? And I said, yeah, investigate where your constituents that like you, who they wanted for president. It wasn't Joe Biden. Well, wait a second. I said, so let's take the politics off the table. How many of your constituents have family members in Mexico that they've not been able to see? Have you asked those people? And then how many of your constituents that are Hispanic in your Hispanic area, because you're Hispanic, how many of them support the Green New Deal? Or how many of them work at the plants or have businesses that are operating because the plant workers come out and go to their insurance company, go to their restaurant, go to their hair salon, whatever. And then guess what she did? She said, oh, well, here's my personal cell phone number. Give me a call. We've had several conversations. She is not as much of a leftist Democrat as she thinks. And the problem we're having, these people are all about being conservative, but don't call them Republicans. And the reason why you don't call them Republicans, because Republicans are too weak. And these guys will stick with a nasty rhetoric. They will stick with an AOC verbiage because they stick together, because they see it winning in their area. And that's our problem. And in that area, the Republicans are so weak, they don't even go there. So you can't keep Texas red if you're not talking to Texans.
Well, and I don't understand how she's so out of touch to think that the border is not affecting her district when I-10 is right there.
Well, and again, so like I said, that's because they're giving talking points. Their staffers, keep them busy. These guys looked at 7,000 bills this past session, or 4,000.
I don't know. Were they busy having sex with underage interns, or were they looking at bills?
Well, those interns, honestly, those interns are of sexual age. They're just not of drinking age. So the bottom line is, they don't need to be worrying about any of that. They need to be worrying about doing their job.
But they can't do their job when that's all they're worried about.
Well, no, exactly. And that's the problem. The kids are running the asylum. And I say the kids because they're under 25. Half of them don't even own a home. You have 5 or 6 of these interns split an apartment because the cost of living in Travis County, Austin, is too high. And they're still a ways out. They're having a carpool in. So they're around. It's a gang mentality. They're around each other all the time. And all it is I just got out of college, or I'm in college, and I'm going to work with all my friends. They never got to get out and experience, what is life like whenever I have to buy my own Coca-Cola, or I have to buy my own Dr. Pepper? What is life like whenever I have to budget for my own lunch? Because what do they have? They have a card. They're not making a lot of money, and mommy and daddy are still footing their bills. And these are the people saying, look at this. This is what Charlie Kirk's going to want to talk about, or Ben Shapiro's going to want to talk about. So let's try and get it in there so we can have debate on it. And they get to who and ha, look what I did. And half the time these legislators have no freaking clue what they're talking about.
Well, listen, here's the thing, is that according to how the left wants to run America, if Charlotte is of the age of consent now, right? That's why she's allowed to watch pornography, and she's allowed to decide that she wants to be a boy, and all of these other things, right? So
and consent to sex with an adult.
You just can't drink and buy cigarettes. That's the new adult age.
Or guns.
Everything else, you're perfectly content to do now.
We're only expelling you because you provided alcohol to a minor. Got it.
That is correct.
Do you?
Wait, and allegedly forced her to take the morning after pill.
Do you guys realize they are actually trying to foot bills right now? They're listening to bills right now that Republicans are putting up on a mileage tax. They want to tax you on your odometer every year. Now, here's the fun part. I got a brand new truck. I've almost got 3,000 miles on this brand new truck in the past couple of weeks. Of those 3,000 miles, I guarantee you 1,000 were not on any public road. Right. So am I going to have to pay tax on the fact that or am I going to have to stop and log in? I just did 15 miles on this private ranch. So there's 15 miles off there. This is the kind of garbage that they're
No, Walter. They're going to tax you for it anyway. Don't worry about it.
Well, no, they're not going to tax me for it because I don't even keep my registration current on my personal vehicle. So, hey, I may have insurance, but trust me. What's that?
I'm trying to remember which one of the Republican priorities that was.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you tell me which one?
Rachel,
what priority did we place that at?
Rachel, look, Rachel, look. It's just a party. You don't matter. 9,000 people, the largest group of Republicans ever, got together into one location, and they said, "This is what we want to hear." And then less than 150 legislators, the Republican majority of the 150 legislators said, "You know what? We have our own agenda, and here's my priorities." Dade Phelan put it out there. Here are Dade Phelan's priorities. Governor Abbott put it out there. Here are Governor Abbott's priorities. Dan Patrick put it out there. Here are my Lieutenant Governor priorities. Of those priorities, how many of those match up 100% word for word with the priorities of the Republican Party of Texas. The people that stuff the signs in the yards, put the make the text message phone calls, get out there and talk these points, or like the Republican women with the funny hats in some counties that give you the $30 rubber chicken meal and sit up there and talk about how we're going to keep Texas red, but yet they never do anything beyond those doorways because it's all about, well, who's going to have the best rubber chicken this month? Literally, where does that fall in line? They don't listen to the people, and it shows. This is the time. Tony Gonzalez got censured because it went that high. Yep. Exactly.
Do it.
Actually, Pat Tibbs, she chairwoman
What?
of the Texas Federation of Republican Rubber Chicken Women in Montgomery County. There you go.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. Yep, that's water. I'll tell you this much, Marianne. We were there with you in Mesa and All About and your Republican women meetings. We went to one or two of those anyway. And
What is
so as
I think
As-
Sandra has ADT.
yeah, she's got ADD. So as we're having a serious moment, Sandra,
Yes,
here's
go
the
on,
fun
Walter.
part. So here's the fun part. I was in Del Rio, and I'm very critical of the Republican women. I was in Del Rio and I was in Kinney County, and their meetings are not here who's got the nicest rubber chicken dinner. Their meetings are, folks, this is how we take our county. We've moved the bar this much. We need to move the bar this much. They're actually more effective than county parties actually are.
Yeah.
And
And they're
yeah.
highly attentive.
and then look at that lady right up there. Her Republican women actually defederated from the Texas Federation of Republican Women because they need to make it more local. There she is. Bam.
Yes.
Yep.
If I look up, can I see her? I feel like I'm on the Brady Bunch.
You
We'll
just
put
got
Walter in the middle and start calling him Alice.
Wait, I gotta
got.
look this way. There you go.
Hey, you know what? We
You
can
know-
actually fit. We can actually fit we should actually just have it to where we have 9 people on, and we could do the Brady Bunch.
I think that's one.
It'd be like what was that old game show with the squares, Hollywood Squares?
Hollywood Squares.
Hollywood Square?
Oh my gosh! Even she got it.
Here's Rachel. Here's Rachel.
She took her
There's
medication like
Marianne.
a few minutes ago, Walter.
Yeah.
She's more focused now.
This would
Okay,
be the
so-
most horrible Hollywood Squares ever.
It would be.
Because there's a lot of pop culture.
So I have a question for y'all. Do you know what this
Uh-oh.
Friday is?
Federal Defense Friday.
It's May 12th.
It's the
Brandon?
day
It will
all
be,
bills die.
it will be 9 years ago that my son was killed by an illegal criminal here in Arizona. 9 years. I cannot believe that it's been this long. And that, I mean, this has been a 9-year battle on my part. And it's just crazy to think that I've lived without him for this long. But anyway,
So and actually, Brandon is his name, correct?
yes, Brandon Mendoza.
So,
Sergeant Brandon Mendoza. He was a police officer.
yeah, and this the funny thing is do you know how many angel moms I've met with this? It's like Brandon is the key name.
Yeah.
And that's taking you to the White House, to the president's desk, and we've switched administrations, and here we are.
Zero, zilch, doesn't care.
Exactly.
Collateral damage, who cares? Illegals are more important to us.
Yeah. And there is a way to fix the problem.
Mhm.
Enforce border security, and then make sure the immigration reform that is done is cognizant of the U.S. Constitution.
Right.
And everyone that raises their right hand up there goes up there and lies, not just to the Constitution, to the American people, to the God that they're swearing in under.
That's it.
Every 2 years that's been done since that time frame.
Well, and they're not interested in fixing the problem. They're interested in kicking the issue down the road because it's a great tool for their reelection campaign.
Yep.
And they don't care about the victims at all. And this is a big message that we're trying to get out to people is we are an afterthought. We are not in their minds, we're not their constituents. Our ideas and our concerns don't matter. And all you need to do is keep paying your taxes so I keep getting my salary. And shut up, by the way.
Well, yeah, and you know, and the sad part is we've been dumbed down as a society to, hey, listen, if you can just $5.99 a month and support my campaign because micro donations matter. If you can just $5.99 a month, that's a cup of coffee at Starbucks, right? Or that's just, you know, you just think of the amount of non-communism you're going to be giving by taking away that $5.99 a month and putting it into my campaign and telling your friends. That's going to allow me to go up there and then I can be Charlie Kirk and then I can be this guy. And it's like, no, that's not what we want. We don't want the next PragerU. We want laws to happen so that we can sit there and enjoy our children, our grandchildren, whatever we have left.
Yes. Thank you, Sandra.
Absolutely. I was trying to find the picture where it was him and with the banner that they put up there in Mesa for the Police Month,
Right.
Police Memorial Month, but I
Yeah.
couldn't find it fast enough. So, but
No.
very good looking man.
Very.
I know
very
he has
good.
your heart still.
And I understand he had a pretty bad sense of humor.
Oh, that kid. I mean, he was the kind of guy that made fun made things so fun. Like he would have Martini Monopoly Monday nights at his house because he had Mondays off for a while. He had Mardi Gras parties. He had Halloween parties. He had a party because somebody else had a party. I mean, the guy just loved having parties and having people over to his house, and he was just so personable. But the biggest thing that really sticks out with my son, which I really didn't find out until after he had been killed, well, I knew he was assigned to this area in Mesa, in South Mesa, called the Guerrero Lindsay Park area, which the park had been taken over by drug dealers and homeless people. And the neighborhood was really kind of living in fear. And the majority of the people living in that area of town are and were illegal. But he went in there because they said, we're putting this task in your hands and clean the area up. He got all the homeless people out of the park, got the drug dealers out of the area, cleaned the park up, had them come in and revamp, put all new playground equipment in, put security cameras up, just went around to the neighbor knocked door to door. He's like a modern day beat cop, knocked door to door, introduced himself, let them know he was there to help. He was invited in for dinner all the time. The women and the girls in the neighborhood, if anybody saw him driving through the neighborhood, they'd all run in and put their makeup on and Mendoza's on duty and all the, they all loved him. It was
Don't blame him.
pretty funny. But so after he was killed, he had plans with the city of Mesa to put a softball field up in the middle of the park and with dugouts and everything. And they ended up doing it and calling it Mendoza Field in his honor. So he did a lot of hard work, worked tirelessly at the Boys and Girls Club and the Mesa Arts Academy, which was a charter school, had an annual Thanksgiving dinner for the neighborhood at the Boys and Girls Club, which I went and helped and carried on for many years afterwards. So he was a pretty amazing man. And I mean, still occasionally when I still see people, they'll come up and say, oh my God, I had a flat tire and your son stopped and assisted me. And I don't know what I would have done. I was able to get to work on time that day. And just stories like that constantly. And he would spend his own money on Christmas gifts for the kids in the neighborhood who had a bad life. And he would go and get pizzas on Saturday and show up at the park and play kickball with the kids and told them, your education is important. Stay out of gangs, stay out of drugs. And a guy actually showed up, a young man at the park dedication, and said that my son single-handedly saved his life. That Brandon would talk to him for many hours about, you know, because he had come out of jail and nobody would employ him. And Brandon said, you just need to keep working on yourself, get an education and get what you need to be successful in this world. And so my son inspired me to become a different person. I mean, you know, that late in my life, because it just was unbelievable, the love and support that people showed me because of my son. So sorry, I didn't mean to take up that much time.
No, and
No,
you know,
he
that's the
deserves
fun
it,
thing.
and so do you.
That's a part of your legacy, though. I mean, that's, you know,
Right.
he wouldn't have done that without his mother. And you know, look at where we are now. Well, and I don't know what that neighborhood looks like right now, but the amount of time that he put into those people, you know, and that's what needs to happen. That's what you see. I mean, you're seeing it on TikTok all the time, all the stupid stuff they're doing, but at the same time, that's the kind of stuff that people want to see on social media feeds, things like that. And,
Yes.
and yet here we are, captivated by all the garbage that they put on. You know, these are things that we got to get the police back to where they can police again, where they can be preventative maintenance medicine, as opposed to reactive medicine. You know,
Right.
we need to be able to be ahead of the game. And people like Mayorkas, people like you know, the leftist police chiefs that are coming out and listening to the mayors that are the leftists instead of doing their job. That's why we're that's why we're having the problems that we're having right now.
Yes.
Okay, so I need to pull the audience, because we have to unfortunately change subjects, but we're running out of time on the show, and we still have to take a commercial break. So should we take a commercial break and then go into 2 new subjects, do 1 new subject, a commercial, and then the other subject? Y'all decide. Hurry up.
Do one topic, a
commercial.
commercial, and then the other topic. Oh,
Okay, done.
Saucy. Salacious. Stephonic. Scammer. Santos.
The best part is he didn't see it.
Oh yeah, I saw it.
So guess what happened today, y'all?
Tell us.
George Santos got arrested on 13 federal charges.
yep.
For what?
About time.
This makes him as a shock. He was a liar pants. His pants finally are catching on fire.
Misuse of campaign funds. What else was there?
Fraud.
There was misuse of campaign funds.
Are you
There
kidding
was,
me? Are you kidding me? Are you people gonna do this to this man? Really?
Yes.
This
Because he
is
did
what's
it
so
to himself.
appalling. This
Well,
is
it's because
what's
he's
so
a
appalling.
Republican. Of
No,
course they're going to do it. to him.
No. This is what's so appalling about you women, you conservative women. You know, y'all want to go on, oh, the campaign stuff. Oh, he did this. It was fraudulent. He lied.
Yeah.
He did this. Did you not see the heels he was wearing down in Brazil? Oh my gosh, who does that?
Very true.
Was one of the charges not really a Republican?
It should have
Fraud.
Well, so here's the fun thing. Tony Gonzalez gets a censure, but those idiots there can't even do that. I mean, your guy literally, this was a predictable moment. It's not even a surprise. I mean, this was and it's funny the FBI is doing it. Why aren't the local police doing it?
I guess the federal charges were bigger than the local charges, and
No, they're not.
I know that the local people were looking into stuff also, so maybe they're
They
just
were-
going to let it all pile up.
They were looking into stuff. Yeah, whatever.
Well, they're holding him accountable for various alleged fraudulent schemes and brazen misrepresentations, that he was using campaign funds to pay his personal credit card, his car, buy clothes, all things that are no-nos. He
Let's-
also,
And because he's a Republican, he's being charged with pretending to be a woman.
Is he really?
no.
Walter, I'm just playing along with your whole, ridiculous stuff.
Listen. So when we first met him at CPAC in Dallas,
His makeup was pretty on point. Yeah.
No, it wasn't. It was
Stop
off. It
it.
was totally
Stop
caked
it,
on.
Mom.
Wire fraud, money laundering, theft of public funds, and making false statements to Congress. Which, I mean, on that one, they should all be
Wait,
there.
They
wait,
could.
wait, wait a minute. That guy lied to Congress and he's getting charges. Are you serious?
Because
Hey,
he's
Jack-
Republican. Come on.
Are you
He
serious
is
right
not
now?
a Republican.
I know.
That doesn't
I mean,
matter.
You know what I
The
mean?
fact that there's no other Congress members and or their staffers are being pulled up for lying to Congress. I mean, everybody that walks in there, even just to change the coffee grounds, is
Right.
lying to Congress.
Right.
Right, just like in our own local, Texas State House, where one person is being targeted because of the stance that they have taken on certain issues that they're not allowed to speak out about, get out of line about. I'm sorry. I'm not saying that what he did was okay, but I'm saying they're all doing it.
Oh, who's that? Talking about Slayton?
Well,
Yeah.
Dude, hey, look, and that's that girl's, that's her second. She's in a lawsuit right now over sexual harassment charges by Aaron Pena Jr. It's physically in court right now. I'm like, dude, Brian Slayton was an idiot for letting that happen. But the fact that this is that girl's second event in less than a year, are you kidding me right now?
I'm just
well, no, but look. Here's the thing with Santos. He hasn't taken any stances on anything. He's literally just been riding a ride. They're not targeting him because he was doing the right thing from his legislative position. He's literally just been a shitbag this whole entire time.
His legislative position has been in heels.
Bent over, I'm sure.
I was
big
waiting for y'all to get it.
Well, if
That-
lying
that-
for Congress is now a crime, then, like you said, Fauci, Mayorkas, let's line them all up.
And you know what? What's funny about
the
Fauci?
Dominion people.
No, well,
Yes.
what's funny about all those? Do y'all remember Oliver North, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
So Oliver North for 6 years, even on into HW's presidency after the Ronald Reagan stuff, Oliver North was facing criminal charges. Criminal. And of course, HW was able to, he pardoned some people and some other things happened. But I'm sitting here thinking, holy crap, guys. I mean, what they were accused of doing is egregious. But at the same time, what these guys right here are accused of doing on a continue, I mean, Fauci, man, he was one of the proponents to shut down the world, and they're going to let him have talking points that mirror his. I never directly shut down a school. Well, of course you didn't. But the fact that you were on the news all the time making the statements that you were making, I mean, you've got where the mask gets effective. 2 months later, the mask is not effective. Holy crap. And why didn't people pick up on this kind of stuff? That is the question. Why didn't people pick up on this stuff?
Well, those of us who picked up on it, they thought we were all crazy.
Hey, when we did the Open Laredo thing, I mean, the police told us in advance, we're going to have to arrest you guys. And it was like, go ahead. I mean, what are you going to arrest us for? And the funny thing is they rounded up an illegal alien because she was trying to pay her bills. Now her kids were Americans, but they rounded up an illegal alien because she was trying to pay her bills. And they put it on video. And you had a college girl, the same thing. They were doing eyelashes. They were doing fingernails. And they did a sting like they were selling crack out of the back alley somewhere. Kicked in the front door, drug him out to the front into the street, videotaped the whole thing, handcuffs on, everything else. And yet those police officers, they're still walking around like, hey, nothing ever happened.
With fresh haircuts.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that was fine.
Perp walks
And
the
then
whole bit. And you know what?
Okay.
Here's the funny thing. Now they're saying, yeah, the statutes of limitations are up on those kind of things. Actually, they're not. Those are called civil rights violations. And the fact that the FBI never went in to touch those, that should tell you where the administration is right now. That should tell you how corrupt the FBI is. The fact that they're not going back on these people. I mean, the fact that they're currently right now, if you've got a homeschool, they're going to drag you out because you said something. You said something about homosexuality that was in the Bible. So now we're going to drag you out onto the street.
Okay, listen, I'm going to do a short commercial break. Not our regular one, our old one. Do I still have the Christmas one? That would be fun. Okay. We're going to do a super short commercial break, and then we'll be right back because we have one more topic that we have to finish, kind of circle back around to. So we'll be right back. We're back with a huge thank you to our amazing sponsors, the Montgomery County Tea Party. Don't forget the first and the third Monday of the month. Miss Patty, who's going to be there this next week?
Judge Claudia Laird, since it's Mental Health Awareness Month. She's a fantastic judge here in Montgomery County. So she's going to come talk to us about mental health in the court system.
Walter should be there.
Aren't you going to be here too?
I'm moving.
Judge
No,
Laird?
I will be there. Yes, ma'am.
Is it Judge Laird?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. No, I got a warrant in her jail. I in her court. I can't go.
You don't have a warrant in her court.
Oh, that's right. It's the other
I checked those out.
personality.
Yeah.
Also,
Okay.
thank you to the Vietnam Veterans of America. If you're interested in hosting a commercial here on Texas Fully Loaded, let one of us know. If you don't want to host a commercial, if you just want to support this insane asylum, please do. We need your support. Go to TexasFullyLoaded.com. Click on hashtag
Okay,
We the People
Walter,
Work. You can
I'm
also
going to
go
make an appointment with
PayPal,
you.
Cash App, and Venmo.
Creepy.
Walter
I
has
don't
a
know what to do
Twitch.
Oh, he's got a Twitch, all right.
It's called the twerk, guys.
God help me.
I can't wait
Okay.
to see. Hey! Are they going to house George Santos where they house the J6ers?
No, we're moving on.
No,
We're
of course
moving
not.
on, sir.
Okay, so at the beginning of the show, we started talking about what was happening in Plainview. And I want the
Yeah.
parents, the mom's opinion here on how the school and the school board is handling this, how we should be making a change in Texas, and how the ISDs are going to say, "Oh, we're independent, so we don't have to do what you tell us to do."
Okay, so first off, the first problem is that superintendents are running the school board, and the school board is not running the superintendent like they're supposed to be. So we need to shift that power dynamic first.
I agree. Except
I don't know.
Marianne?
I don't know enough about Texas school systems, but I do know here in Arizona, we are top heavy with superintendents who do nothing but get big salaries.
Hey! Actually, Marianne, this superintendent of this school district first started out in Tucson United School District.
I'm sorry, you guys.
And if you're not aware, Clear Creek ISD hired the superintendent from Loudoun County, Virginia, where the young lady was sexually assaulted twice. So they knew all of this, and then they still hired this gentleman.
They
Why?
they didn't watch the incredibly insane YouTube videos from Loudoun County. I mean, what kind of a school board is there at Clear Creek where those morons They should have just hired Dr. Kevorkian if he's still around. Holy crap.
He's a doctor, so you know,
That
Well,
overrides
so is Jill
everything.
Biden.
Dr. Jill.
Well, at least Dr. Jill represented us very well in Europe when it came time to crown the prince as king. That was a very historical, monumental moment.
Her face is like scrunched between two people's shoulders.
What was she wearing?
It was purple.
Blue, and her granddaughter was wearing yellow because they were like honoring Ukraine, the blue and yellow colors of their flag.
Oh God.
No,
Yes.
I actually
It
thought
was
No.
not they representing the United States.
they were representing Ukraine. Yes, please send them to Ukraine. Let Ukraine have them. I am perfectly fine.
I mean,
with
that's what people were speculating on
Well-
social media.
especially since they've already paid for them.
Yes.
it. Yes, they own them.
I mean, yeah, they own them.
Yeah, you guys got to
Actually,
see
the way
this
they-
picture.
So is
the way
it like
they
when
were
you buy
dressed-
a car and
Oh,
you
good
take
Lord.
delivery?
Wait, is that the one that Joe Biden used to have showers with?
Oh.
No, that's his daughter, not his
Oh,
granddaughter.
I'm sorry. Yeah, they have standards.
Well, I actually
Go
Where's
thought,
the other
back-
picture?
go
There
back
was a
up to
really
the
good
first
one so you could
picture.
see them
It
well.
shows her in the very back row. Right, go down, 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 down.
the other
Right there.
down.
There she is.
They're in the back row.
Well, you know why they were in the back row?
Back row Biden.
Because Biden refused to go,
Yep.
Mhm.
and so there
Well, no,
was kind of
he didn't want to run into Prince Andrew.
Right.
because he knows that
Oh, maybe that's the truth. Maybe they couldn't go.
maybe
Maybe he
knows.
couldn't go because he's not alive and they couldn't get his corpse over there.
Well, and look at Jill Biden at her
at her
age.
face.
That she has a blue bow in her hair. She is
I know.
so
How'd that look,
ridiculous.
Jackie?
I mean,
She had-
you know,
They embarrassed me by the way they were dressed because I mean when you look at the rest of the attendees, they were
Yeah.
dressed like they were going to a meeting, to a business
or to
meeting.
a high tea or something.
Yeah,
Make it bigger, Sandra.
and I mean
No,
It's just-
Jill Biden was trying her best to channel Jackie O. Look at her. It's terrible. Jill has the
Her
most
granddaughter looks like a bad
Stylist.
bridesmaid.
Yes. They have the most horrible stylists ever. You know what I keep
Yeah.
remembering about Jill? Remember that black outfit she wore with the tights that were like lace and she had on
Yes.
ankle boots and oh my
Yes.
gosh, what like who put that on you,
I
lady?
know.
Own a
You
mirror.
know, they
Or-
should have at least called George Santos. Come on now.
Or the dress that they made out of her bedspread.
table.
You know,
Yeah.
the flower print things that she wears. It's like, oh,
Hey, they had to get the evidence out of Biden's bedroom somehow.
Well, it just goes
Oh.
to show that money cannot buy taste.
true.
True.
But hey,
Well-
at least it smells good.
On that note, it's time for us to go.
someone hit him in the back of the head.
I could
If
be
I
there in
could.
6 hours and do it.
Smack him.
This is the
Smack
same
him
guy who threw freaking. What was that fruit you were throwing at me on the show one day when we had a brand new person on? And all of a sudden, it comes sailing across the room. Pomegranate seeds.
Pomegranate seeds. Well, it could have been a watermelon.
And they were like, "Are you being attacked?"
okay, back to how we fix. Back to what we do
Oh,
to fix.
Charlotte's right. It's time for bye, y'all.
No, it's not. Oh wait, there almost is. Charlotte. Hold on.
Bacon.
Hey, pull mommy's nose.
Oh darn, she can't hear you. Oh wait, she might be able to hear you this time.
Give mommy a big hug. Be sweet.
On that note, Ken's gonna kick us off the air, so we do have to go. We love you guys. Thank you, ladies, for being here. Walter, as always. Bye, y'all. See you guys tomorrow.
Goodbye, folks.